Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Horseofhell and today we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we're going to be reviewing some footage that friend of the show, Izzy, made for us. So let's get started with first hand on the right. We have Queen Jack 9-5 after, I assume, 3-betting preflop, didn't quite show up. But on the Ace 10-8 board, we're definitely going to be c-betting full range, and half-potting with our wrap and flush draw seems pretty good. So we see a guy Strider with a green tag and assume that's fish. Jack 10-6-4, gonna call the 3-bet. So my suspicion that green tag was fish is kind of immediately confirmed by him betting this giant sizing on this King Jack 10 board. In general, on this board, you don't want to be c-betting that big. Generally, you want to be going a little bit smaller, and then just betting your full range. Betting very big here is a little bit weird. But either way, we're just gonna be calling here with our King Queen 10-3. Jack 10-6-4, definitely going to be calling. Don't want to be raising with bottom two pair on a board like this. On the right, so in general, 3 pair on 4 straight boards is going to be quite strong. We're not going to be doing a lot of folding. The reason for that is because 3 pair, of course, blocks the other player from having a straight. The other player is less likely to have Ace King, Ace Queen, and Ace 10 when we have King Queen 10 ourselves. So what you're going to be seeing in the solver is that generally we're going to be calling the turn here and then not really folding on brick rivers. We're going to be using hands like these to just bluff catch. Bluff catching can be a little bit scary in a spot like this where people can just be very value heavy, but the bluffs in this spot are relatively easy to spot because it's just aces. So if the out of position player just has ace 4-5 or whatever, he's just going to be betting big and then barreling off on the river, which is good. But yeah, something to keep in mind. There's a lot of very natural and easy to find bluffs in this spot, so you have to be a little bit careful with overfolding versus most people. Of course, I don't know this Strider player. Maybe he is a little bit under bluffy, like he's a little bit value heavy. I'm sure our hero knows a little bit more about that, but in general, this is definitely going to be a call. On the left, we called. We get a complete brick turn, which is extremely good for us. So I definitely do want to be seeing a bet here. Yeah, I just think this is a pretty easy bet. We can pot it, we can bet half pot, we can bet 70%. You can kind of bet whatever sizing you want, but I do want to bet. I think most people will be checking to check raise stronger hands a little bit too infrequently. They will probably just end up betting too much of those combos themselves, like their stronger King X2 pair that we're in very bad shape against. So I definitely do like seeing a bet here. And our hand with the 10-4 is quite vulnerable if we check back on cards like those. Yeah, it just sucks because we want to be denying. We can deny a pretty good chunk of equity by just betting on the turn ourselves. There's a lot of hands that still have equity versus Jack 6-2 pair. And now on the river, if he bets large enough, we kind of just, we kind of just have to fold. It's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. And then on the right, I'm okay with checking. I'm okay with betting. Either one is probably fine. I personally like betting a little bit more because I think most people don't really delay c-bet all too much, especially at this stake. I think people can be a little bit too nitty with their delay c-betting, so betting our value a little bit more is definitely going to be advantageous. And then facing the raise, we have a pretty easy call. 3-betting, of course, wouldn't really make any sense. And on the river, of course, we are just checking. And our villain very quickly checks back. And we will see a showdown. our villain had king 10 6 5, so something to take note on. When we bet small on the turn there, this Garian guy, he basically punted off massively. This is like not, I don't think this is going to be a good race, so something to keep in mind. So on the left we defend. King 5 F7, we have a set blocking one of our pair outs, but we also block the in-position player from having kings, which is pretty good for us. Definitely calling though. The player picked a very big sizing, which is a little bit weird, but we've seen this Strider guy also pick a big sizing in the 3-bet pot earlier, so maybe it's just kind of like a fish that likes betting big. On the right, I definitely dislike checking back. I think in general, kings on this board is a very medium hand that we don't really want to be inflating the pot with. But when we have kings with a king of spades and a backdoor flush draw and an additional pair, we just have a little bit too much stuff to check back. I prefer seeing a c-bet there, probably around half pot, which is the sizing I pick on straight boards. And then on the turn, on the Knight of Hearts, definitely going to be calling our kings with the king high flush draw and even the king of spades, giving us some bluff equity as well. 10 of hearts on the river, and villain checks extremely quickly. Definitely something to take note on. I think when someone checks very quickly, they are a little bit less likely to have a very strong hand. Obviously, is not to say that they can never have a strong hand. I think it's just like maybe a little bit less likely. So definitely do want to be a little bit careful with value betting flushes on this river. Ace high flushes, we can be betting a decent amount. King high flushes is kind of like the edge where it's it can be a little weird to figure out if we want to bet or not. Queen high flushes definitely want to be checking back a lot, unless if we have like a 10 blocker. But this particular king high flush, given what we saw with the timing from the out of position player and us unblocking all the straight combos as well, I think just betting like half pot here is going to be working out quite nicely. On the left, again, versus this big sizing, we're just going to be calling and then checking on the river. On the right, like I said, just the half pot c-bet I think works out nicely. We're going to be seeing a showdown. So the in-position player had 9-8-7-4 with no club. So he bet massive on the flop and bet very big on the turn as well with this combo. So it seems like this player likes betting big on flops and turns to try and get us to fold, but then giving up on rivers with his weak bluffs. So this just kind of helps us build an image of this fish. It's very important when you're playing fish heads up to, as quickly as possible, build an image of what you think they are doing, because different fish can have extremely different ways of playing the game, and you don't want to be exploiting a fish in one way when it turns out they're playing in the exact opposite way, and turns out you've been exploiting yourself by making certain adjustments. So having seen this 9-8-7-4, I think the King Queen 10 hand that we folded right at the start, I think that's probably going to be a mistake. I think, judging by this, I think this villain is definitely capable of having some bluffs there. Ace Queen 10-4 on the right, definitely going to go for a 3-bet. We have 4-bet again, and hopefully we don't fold this time. Ace Queen 10-4, definitely a hand that can peel versus a 4-bet. On the King 10-3 suited, with the pair, gutter, backdoor flush draw, it's just a little bit too strong to fold. We have to just get in here. On the left, we're definitely folding versus this very weird pot size c-bet. Also, just what we know from this fish on the right, it seems like he's very capable of having some very weird hands in spots like these. So I definitely dislike that you folded here. I think we have quite a profitable get in there with our pair gutter and backdoor flush draw. Without a backdoor flush draw, it's much closer, and folding is very reasonable at that point. But yeah, with a backdoor flush draw, just get in. On the right, with 2 backdoor flush draws, I'll definitely c-bet this combo. If we had 1 or 0 backdoor flush draws, I'd much rather consider checking back. When we face this donk on the turn, I don't know what this Galrian guy is doing. This makes absolutely no sense. But, I mean, I'll take it. So, I mean, I hope you raise, which is kind of is the only play, of course. I would personally just pot raise, but we'll see what you do. On the left, of course, calling the 3-bet. Sure, we raise some size, that's fine. On the left, we check, or we face a check again. Very quick check from this Strider guy. Again, definitely going to be stabbing here, although I want to make a quick note on the sizing. I just want to say that I very, very much dislike this sizing. I think it doesn't make sense conceptually, because if you think about it, about the spot for just a second, you realize that the out of position player has a lot of overpairs. And when we bet here as the in position player, we're not going to be betting a lot. So when we bet here, we're basically saying we are very polar. We have a lot of trips, boats, and we have bluffs. So if we are polar, why are we betting small? It just doesn't make sense conceptually. We want to be betting bigger here, like at least half pot. We want to put pressure on the overpair region of the out of position player, and we want to be able to get all in by the river. I guess we can still get all in by the river if we bet small on the flop by just betting very big on the turn. But also, if you ever run sims in the solver for this spot, you'll see that the in position player much prefers picking a larger sizing. So yeah, you see players do this a lot where they bet small in position because, I don't know, people bet small in position in single raise pots, so maybe they think it's the same when in reality it's a completely different spot because we are the preflop raiser in single raise pots, whereas they are the 3-bet raiser in this specific spot. So on board with the bet, but definitely do want to be sizing up here. Did I not press play? Oh my god, I didn't press play. I'm sorry. I'm new to this. I thought I pressed play. I was like, why is it taking so long for something to happen? We do get called. 7 of diamonds, definitely going to be betting, and I hope it does seem like you're going to be sizing up at this point. Nine and 8-6, definitely going to go for a raise. King 6-5 flop. I definitely like c-betting here with the 8 of hearts pair, and I don't like checking back. I think we have so much future equity from like a bluffing point of view with our pocket 9s and our 6. We have so much immediate fold equity as well. I think we should just c-bet this hand. If we didn't have a heart, you can check back, but with a heart, I think you just have to c-bet. And then on the turn, villain checks again. Like we've talked about before, when guys like these check twice, I like delay c-betting a lot. So yeah, not a super big fan of your check back on the turn. It seems like you're a little bit passive in delay c-betting spots. You have to be a little bit more careful about that. Exploitively, I think it's a pretty big mistake versus players like these. But I mean, if we're gonna backdoor boats, I think that's it's pretty nice. So when we backdoor a boat, villain checks 3 times. I think he doesn't really have that much. I just probably want to go half pot just because I think it's very hard to get called.